Okay, so I'm trying this for a third time, but instead of doing a live stream, I'm going to go ahead and just rant on here and upload because apparently my computer decided today that every time I tried to do a live stream, it would crash. If you don't know who I am, I'm Suzanne Titkemeyer. I wrote about quiverful and religious toxic kind of movements for about 11, 12 years. And almost 10 years of that was with Pathos, my column, No Longer Quivering, my daily column. This is just all my opinion, my observations that I've come up with from years and years of seeing these things. Um, Please don't bully anybody I mention here, not even Josh Duggar. And don't be rude to each other. I thank you for watching. So I'm going to start all over again because I keep getting booted out. And I have things to say about this, big things, some big things, little things. By now, I'm sure you've heard Josh got 12 and a half years of the sentence. The prosecution asked for 20 years and some other kickers, I think it was, they were asking for that got denied. They asked for that. The prosecution, the defense asked for 5 years total. What happened was just about what Emily D. Baker and others were predicting, that 8 to 12 year range, towards the top of that. I thought that was a possibility that might be one of the sentences he got, but I was hoping and praying that I was absolutely wrong. I don't mind being wrong. I frequently am wrong. I frequently screw up. But this is one of those cases where I wanted him to get the maximum, and he didn't get it. So I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with listening to all of the things that were going on. One of the things that I found the most awful about the whole thing was there was a statement given today. It was read aloud by one of the child victims on some of the child porn that he was caught with. He was caught with some of the worst stuff, and I had to laugh because he kept saying it was a victimless crime in all of his filings and things. Childhood sexual abuse, be it porn or whatever, it's never a victimless crime. It's not. That poor little girl said that every time that is downloaded and viewed, that it is like her being assaulted all over again. That it's the worst day of her life, if I recall correctly. I was looking at the statement just a minute ago, but I'm kind of blown away. So, I was hoping that Josh would get the maximum. He did not. He's such a self-righteous, smug little jerk, though, that I think wherever they put him, whether they put him in Texas at the sex offender program that the judge was talking about, or if they put him in the federal pokey there in Arkansas, or if they send him to Phoenix to the sexual offenders unit where they put guys that they try to keep regular prisoners from killing. Wherever he ends up, he's going to have a rough time of it. This is a boy that has been spoiled left and right, and I don't know why I'm calling him a boy. He's a man. He is the same age as my son, who my son just turned 35 today. Yeah, wait a minute, I gotta think about that. No, 34. Turned 34 today. I can't even remember my own kids' ages. That's how agitated and choked up I am right now. I can't hardly breathe. So here's a man, a grown man, that has been treated like a child his entire life. He was been treated like a prince or a Raja or King Joffrey in Game of Thrones. He's Joffrey, even though he's never used weapons to harm people. He has that whole entitlement thing that he'll never be punished going on. He is about to be in for a very rude awakening because even the country club prisons that the guys who are busted for white crime go to, they're not luxurious and not fun. Just ask former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen about his time in Otisville. He will tell you that it wasn't luxury, and that he worked in the wastewater sewage factory plant there, not factory. So Josh is trading a life where he is the king for a small cell and probably a roommate, and a life that for the next so many years will be completely and utterly controlled. Every minute of his day, he'll be told what to do. There will be none of the things that he loves. And here's the good thing about federal jail. There is not one conjugal visit allowed. So Anna Duggar will not be getting pregnant anymore, and Josh the pig will not have an outlet. That's good. That's worth celebrating. The thing is, with these federal prisons, these state prisons, these whatever prisons, you don't serve the whole time. You might serve a half to 2/3 of the time. So conceivably, he could be out in six and a half, 7 years. And that may well happen, but I'm praying it doesn't, that he has to serve every single day. I'm praying that that's what happens, because what he did was so incredibly heinous. And as I said earlier on the live stream, kids just don't recover from that. I don't care how much therapy you get, there's always going to be lingering pain. And one of the children that was used in some of the child pornography that he viewed talked about how re-victimized she was every single time somebody looked at that stuff that starred her in one of the worst days of her entire life. I just cannot imagine. And I cannot imagine that poor child's mother. I almost cry when I start thinking about that. And adding to all this, we had Amy Duggar King, who, of course, has every right to be upset. This is her cousin. This is her beloved family. She spent this morning talking to the son and being completely inappropriate in how she was reacting and the things she was saying about her family. All I could think of is people used to call her Famey, and I almost felt like this was an attention-getting thing from her. This was something that she does. So it kind of makes her and her former best friend without a box of Kleenex. It sort of makes them birds of a feather in their own weird little ways. So what Amy said and did this morning was just not acceptable in any way, shape, or form. She could have made one statement, but to continually talk to them and have them continually quoting new and more outrageous claims of hers was just counterproductive. Girl, your cousin's going away. Was that even necessary? I don't think so. Now, she did write a good letter to the judge, and she read that. And I have no problem with that. That is one of those things that's absolutely appropriate. If you have contact with the person that they're putting away and you have definitive thoughts about how long they should be in jail, there's nothing wrong with saying those things. I mean, with writing the letter, not sitting there on social media and feeding the tabloid beast in the UK. And make no mistake about it, the Sun is a tabloid, even though they had a reporter there and they were giving live updates throughout the day on this thing. So, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the crazy things that are going on. We all saw Caleb Williams over the last 2 or 3 days try to pitch a narrative that he wasn't such a bad guy, even though Josh blamed him for the videos and pictures that ended up on all of his devices. He blamed Caleb Williams. Caleb wasn't even in the state when this happened. Instead of leaving his testimony at what it was and maybe reaching out to news media organizations, he was trying to chat up every single YouTuber who has an audience a good audience, good size audience, to promote his own redemption arc. Extremely, extremely inappropriate. Forgiveness is earned. And he has not earned that right yet, as far as I'm concerned. And I think it's going to be a cold day in hell before he does. Sojo Files, who I don't know, interviewed him, and so did Without a Box of Kleenex. He is being disingenuous about his own struggles and what he was convicted of doing. He said, "Oh, she was 16. I was betrothed to her." He started having sex with his victim when she was 13 and he was 20. He got caught when she was 16. He was 23. No 13-year-old should ever be having sex with a 20-year-old, even if they're married. I don't think that you should be married at that age. Unfortunately, there are a lot of states in the country that don't have a minimum marriage age where that would have been legal, but they weren't even married. They were courting, and all of this happened. He got busted when she got pregnant, and her family found out about it. He has sued the girl that he impregnated, that he sexually abused for 3 years, for custody and visitation of that child, the child born of sexual abuse. So now he's on this apology tour, not even really apology, but like a redemption tour, saying, "Oh, it wasn't that bad. I was just blah, blah, blah. I was engaged to her." No, it's still abuse. There were a number of YouTubers, myself included, who said that we don't feel comfortable giving a convicted sexual predator, and he is labeled legally a sexual predator in the state of Illinois, do not feel comfortable giving him a platform to try to spread his silly redemption arc on the back of Josh Duggar's looming sentencing. It's just wrong, all the way wrong to do that. And that child victim, the child's victim statement is, it's just so disturbing. I thought it was interesting. The Sun reporter said that neither Josh nor Anna reacted to the sentencing at all. I tell you, that takes a cold MFer. That's all I'm going to say. A cold one not to react. It's normal to have emotions and feelings about these things. It's not normal to pretend you don't. And it's like, la la la, everything's fine. I do feel sorry for Anna because she's so brainwashed in the entire Quiverful movement. Jim Bob Duggar is still pulling the strings there, keeping Anna in the fold with the children, keeping her living on the family compound. Anna has nowhere to go. She has no way of supporting her children if she doesn't bow to what her father-in-law says and wants. But I think the day is coming soon enough where it'll strike Anna what her husband actually did. She will have that rude awakening moment, maybe not right away, but eventually. Like I said, I've seen several cases of this in my old church where the husband was accused of raping the daughter, and eventually the wife woke up and divorced him and got restraining orders against him from seeing the other children in the family. I pray that Anna's awakening happens sooner than later so that she can move on with the rest of her life and put all of this behind her. I know that old Tammy Wynette song says, "Stand by your man." Girl, no. There are circumstances where it's not appropriate for you to stand by him. Debbie Pearl, in her book, Created to Be a Helpmeet, actually had a chapter on what to do if your husband was sexually abusing your children. She said that you were to turn him into the police, and you were to be there for him during his trial and during his prison time and all of that. And when he was released, you placed your children with some relative and you welcomed him back with open arms. She says that's your only option as a woman because When you marry in Quiverful, they think that there is no reason ever for divorce, not even infidelity, not incest, not any of that, which kind of runs contrary to what's in the Bible. Somebody strays, and we know Josh has strayed quite a bit, then it's perfectly fine to divorce. I am just sick at heart and physically sick today. This has just really broken my heart in ways that I never even dreamed. Tomorrow and Friday, there'll be no live stream, or maybe one late Friday, because I have to go sell my car tomorrow. I have to go sign the paperwork. Or a 4 hour ride from here in Arnall. I'm going to try to do some videos and some things from Arnall to upload later because it's so beautiful. And I'm so sick of focusing on the negative and having to deal with all this BS, having to talk about these things. I know there are some creators out there that like talking about this stuff. I am not one of them. I think it's because I've seen what's behind this, what's behind the scenes, what's behind the curtain, and how long it takes people to recover from these things, and how in many ways they just never recover. It's always there. Take care of yourselves, folks. Hug your little ones and do your best to protect them from guys like Josh Duggar. Men who do that sort of thing, they never stop. People who look at child porn and or abuse children like that, the statistics say that usually they've done it over 200 times before they get caught. Think about that one for a minute. That is a whole lot of broken children. It's a tremendous amount. And, between that and the school shooting yesterday, I just don't know what's going on with the United States. I think the moral compass is broken when you have the grandson of Ron Williams of Hepzibah House, and the grandson of S.M. Davis, a Quiverful cultural enforcer, doing a redemption tour and talking how much he loves the Lord and all this other crapola. Dude, if you loved the Lord, you would not have abused that girl. Your love for God would have been strong enough to help you. That's one thing that I hold against evangelical Christianity. The worst things in life are justified by belief by them, by some of them. My own experiences recently with people that I knew here that brag about what great Christians they are, and one of them has been exploiting my husband. Well, both of them have been exploiting my husband for money, and I've been trying to end that, and it's ended all of a sudden recently, but it's just so disheartening to go through that crap with these people. Okay, I'm really going to go this time. Take care of yourselves. And I'll be back maybe Saturday or Sunday. Maybe Friday night. It depends. It really depends. Okay. Thanks again for watching. And I know this was ranty and all over the place, but that's kind of what I'm feeling right now with all this crap.